Today, we're counting down 5 greater Seattle neighborhoods and suburbs where accessory dwelling unit income is the main reason they stand out. And the place that finishes first is not the one most people guess before they see the full countdown. For this episode, we're looking across Seattle and the surrounding region through an ADU income lens. Places where a backyard cottage, basement apartment, converted garage, or detached rental unit could be part of an investor strategy. We're not ranking scenery alone, and we're not just chasing the lowest purchase price.
For ADU income, the conversation usually comes down to a mix of home values,
Renter access, local character, and whether a secondary unit can plausibly add income without depending on one single type of tenant. As always, zoning, permitting, construction costs, financing, insurance, and taxes need their own professional review before anyone makes a move. But if you're scanning the greater Seattle area for ADU potential, these 5 places deserve a closer look. Number 5 is Issaquah. Issaquah sits in King County and recorded a population of 40,051 at the 2020 census. It has a walk score of 59, according to Walk Score in 2026, which gives it a more connected feel than many outer suburbs, while still keeping a clear suburban identity. For ADU income, that combination matters. An owner can think about access to local shops, services, and regional routes without being limited to the densest parts of Seattle. Issaquah's income-focused case is less about flash and more about steady, practical demand in an established Eastside setting. What helps Issaquah stand out is that it does not feel like a remote satellite, even though it sits outside Seattle's urban core. The city has its own commercial areas, nearby outdoor access, and a recognizable town center, so an ADU does not have to rely only on someone commuting into Seattle every day. From an investor strategy standpoint, that can make the rental story broader. Local employment, Eastside access, and neighborhood convenience can all support the same income thesis. The key is site selection, because a well-placed ADU near everyday services tells a very different story than one tucked far from transit or shopping. Number 4 is Covington. Covington is a King County city with 20,777 residents at the 2020 census, and its population was estimated at 21,567 in 2024. Its median home price is around $712,612 per Zillow and Redfin in 2026, which makes the purchase price side of the ADU equation very important here. Covington has a walk score of 6, according to Walk Score in 2026, so this is a more car-oriented setting. For ADU income, that means parking, access, and practical layout may carry more weight than walkability. Covington's position in the countdown comes from the income angle, not from an urban village feel. The strategy here is about understanding suburban rental behavior and making the ADU function cleanly. Private entry, usable outdoor space, simple access to roads, and a layout that feels independent from the main home. Because walkability is limited, an investor would want to pay close attention to whether a specific property has enough site functionality to support a second unit. Covington can make sense when the numbers work, but it rewards careful underwriting rather than broad assumptions. Number 3 is Bainbridge Island. Bainbridge Island is both a city and an island in Kitsap County, located in Puget Sound, which gives it a very different profile from the King County suburbs. The median home price is around $1,187,471 per Zillow and Redfin in 2026, so the entry cost is significant. Its walk score is 26, according to Walk Score in 2026, reflecting a place where location within the island matters quite a bit. For ADU income, Bainbridge is about pairing a high-value housing market with a distinctive island setting. The ADU case on Bainbridge Island is not simply build it and rent it. The more realistic investor strategy is to study the exact property, the ferry access pattern, local service areas, and whether a secondary unit has a clear use case within the island's housing market. A detached cottage near commercial activity has a different income profile than a unit that depends heavily on driving for every errand. The home values create pressure on the math, but the Puget Sound setting and separate identity from Seattle are also part of why Bainbridge earns a top 3 spot. Number 2 is Maple Valley. Maple Valley is a King County city with 28,013 residents at the 2020 census and an estimated 28,553 residents in 2024. The median home price is around $805,971 per Zillow and Redfin in 2026, putting it below the two highest-priced entries while still firmly in the greater Seattle housing market. Its walk score is 20, according to Walk Score in 2026. For ADU income, Maple Valley's appeal is tied to suburban scale, lot-by-lot opportunity, and a housing market that still carries meaningful value. Maple Valley works well because ADUs often depend on property configuration, not just neighborhood name recognition. A larger lot, a usable driveway, or a layout that allows separation between the main home and the accessory unit can make the income model much more practical. Since the walk score is limited, the best ADU candidates would likely be properties with straightforward road access and a design that minimizes friction for both the owner and renter. Maple Valley earns the number 2 position because its income potential is supported by a clear suburban ADU strategy. And now, number 1 is Snoqualmie. Snoqualmie is a King County city next to Snoqualmie Falls, about 28 miles east of Seattle, and that setting gives it a memorable identity right away. Its median home price is around $1,123,770 per Zillow and Redfin in 2026. It also has a walk score of 65, according to Walk Score in 2026, the highest walk score among these 5 places. For ADU income, that combination is powerful. High home values, a recognizable location, and better walkability than the other contenders. This is why Snoqualmie takes the top spot. It is not the closest place to downtown Seattle, and it is not the lowest cost entry point, but the ADU case is broader than either of those single factors. Snoqualmie Falls gives the city a landmark identity, while the walkability score suggests more everyday access than people may expect from a suburb east of Seattle. For an investor strategy, a secondary unit here can be evaluated against both housing market value and place-based appeal, which is exactly why Snoqualmie finishes at number 1. So, to recap the countdown, number 5 is Issaquah, number 4 is Covington, number 3 is Bainbridge Island, number 2 is Maple Valley, and number 1 is Snoqualmie. The big takeaway is that ADU income potential is not just a Seattle city story. It shows up across the broader region in very different ways. And yes, that number 1 finish really does make this countdown more interesting than a simple closest to Seattle ranking. What did we miss? Which Seattle area neighborhood or suburb would have made your personal top 5 for ADU income? If you think we ranked one too low, or there's a specific pocket we should have included, drop it in the comments so we can compare notes. If this helped you think through the ADU angle, give the video a like and subscribe for more Seattle neighborhood deep dives. And tell us what topic you want next: ADU zoning, rental income strategy, Eastside suburbs, ferry communities, or a close-up on one neighborhood in particular.